I'd like to tell you a story of a very important individual in my life. His name is Bill, and he is an Arizona mountain king snake. When I was little, I manifested my love and obsession for animals, which I still have, but I exercised that love in a very different way than I do now. Now I do it through eating compassionately and having a vegan diet. That's the most important thing if you really love animals. But when I was young, I didn't make those connections. So the way I manifested that was having tons of pets. I was obsessed with reptiles and amphibians and having the responsibility of an individual in your hands. I liked all that. And finally, after years of convincing my mom to do this, I read all these books about snakes. I wanted a snake when I was 8 years old. But for my 9th birthday, we went to the pet store and bought a little itty bitty 7-day-old snake. His name is Bill. I'm 22 years old now. He is still kicking. I just fed him yesterday, in fact. That collection of pets grew a lot throughout my elementary school days, to the point where at one point I had a saltwater, this is all in my room, in my little room in my house, a saltwater fish tank with tons of tropical fish, 2 red-eared slider turtles, 2 parakeets, a snake, a crested eyelash gecko, a tarantula, a Jackson's chameleon, and a leopard gecko. This was a full-time job. They were my responsibility, and all my friends knew that if it was a Friday and everyone was going to my friend's house to do whatever, Jackson first goes home, he plays with his pets, cleans the cages, feeds the animals, and he'll come over and hang out 2 or 3 hours later. Once I got into high school, I realized that if I truly did love these animals who have an intention to live, a personality, that keeping them captive as pets was not the best way to express that love, and it was actually really cruel to pay pet stores to breed or capture wild animals and have them in a tiny glass box. It's completely unethical. And so I went through a pretty intense time where I said, okay, it makes me sad to come into my room. I don't regret what I did, because these teachers in my life, these animals, were the ones that really allowed me to bloom as a vegan activist and want to educate people and inspire people to treat animals with respect, whether they're your pet or your food. But I went through a process of, okay, like I found a place to bring my turtles to, like a pond sanctuary. I let one of my birds go away because I just fly away, because I simply could not handle having it in that condition. But eventually I thinned out my pet collection until there was Bill, my first and last reptile pet, and he's still alive. As I said, he's like 14 years old and he lives here in California. My mom and dad have known him now just as long as I have, so he's a part of the family. They know how to feed him when I'm at school. And I want to talk about like the responsibility we take on when we get pets. Yesterday, it was time to feed him. He just stopped hibernating. He hasn't eaten in months. That's how they do it. And I had to feed him 3 live baby rat pups. When I fed them to my snake and he started to eat them, they screamed. They did not want to be in that condition. And because I took the responsibility of having him as a pet, I have fed him, hundreds of mice. And do I feel bad about that? Yeah, I don't like to do it. But at the same time, is he really sentimentally an important part of my life? And is he one of my greatest teachers? And yeah, so I don't want to let him die. I don't want to give him away. He is a symbol for me of my vegan activist career in a way, and how I feel emotionally about it. So I'm going to live out his life. I'm going to treat him with as much care and respect. Every day I'm home, I try to hold him and play with him and let him run around. And he sometimes expresses, that he likes me. When I give him to someone to hold, he always comes back because he knows my smell. He gets some comfort in it. So I just want to talk about, if we really, really love these animals, if we are fascinated by them, then we should go out in the wild and go look at lizards in their natural habitat, or go look at snakes, bird watch. But essentially, I think it's hypocritical to say that you love animals so much that you're gonna buy new ones from captivity and enslave them for their whole life. I just don't think it's ethical, and trust me, I've been there. I understand where that comes from, that we are interested in getting to know these animals, but ultimately there is a solution, thankfully, because a lot of people get pets from pet stores and realize that they don't have the resources or skills or time to take care of them. You can go rescue an animal. This is the same, I think, with dogs, cats, or even stuff like reptiles and amphibian and fish. Instead of buying them new from a pet store and supporting the industry that allows this cruelty, you can rescue animals. There's tons that need to be rescued, all different types in all different kinds of cities, if you do want to experience this, but do it in a more ethical way. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to the channel right here where I talk about vegan philosophy stuff, fitness, nutrition. Have an awesome day. And remember to check out the Plantriotic podcast on iTunes or plantriotic.com.